Hello, Ketki.
Hi, ma'am. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. So it is good to know that we are going to start with our live session for today, right? So,
Yes,
Ketki, would you
yes.
like to introduce yourself to all our viewers?
So, hello everyone. My name is Kirti Tauri. I am pursuing my master's in clinical psychology from BES College, Chembur. And with us, we have an incredible speaker and a psychotherapist, Ms. Asira Chilunde. So, to introduce her, she is the director of ATHA, Center for Psychotherapy and Training. She is also an associate fellow and a supervisor of Rational Emotive and Cognitive Behavioral Therapy from Albert Ellis Institute, New York. Also trained in CBT from Beck Institute, and she's also a consultant psychologist at Sunshine Wellness Center from Vasai, and also a visiting faculty at Vivekanand College, which is my college. So
Yes, and I'm so lucky to have such great and passionate students like you, Ketki, because we just started this series with all the students, and we have had many of Vivekanand students contributing to this initiative. So that is very good. And Ketki, she is studying her masters, and she is a very, very sincere and a very curious, what you say, someone who is very much interested to learn about psychology and get more in depth, right?
yes,
So,
thank you,
Ketki,
ma'am.
yes, today our session is going to be on skills to build and nurture healthy relationships. This is also something that the topic that you have chosen. So, can you tell me what actually motivated you to have this topic today?
Okay, so to start with it, I think relationships play a major role, and in our daily lives, we have human interactions day to day.
Hmm.
So I think we sometimes find it difficult to manage this relationship, that thoughts. So maybe to get some answers, to get some more views, your perspective about it, and to know more about it, I
Right.
thought of choosing this topic.
Right. So, as you said that we all are into some or the other relationship with each other, not just romantic relationships, but so many relationships we cater to almost on a daily basis, right? And it becomes very very important and quite pertinent for all of us to reflect upon how to nurture these delicate relations that we have with each other, right? So, we will begin with our
Yeah.
today's session, Ketki.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So shall I ask my first question?
Yes.
Okay, so to start with it, I'd like to say that at times it is really difficult for us to build a sense of self in any kind of close relationship. And we don't generally talk about it like setting boundaries. So even if we do, we often find it difficult to act on it, like setting boundaries in general. So my first question is, how can we build healthy boundaries in a close relationship?
Right. So your question is about how to build healthy boundaries, right?
Yes.
See, I think this is a very, very important question. But many a times we don't understand boundaries. What do you mean by boundaries, right? So let me tell you and all our viewers also that boundaries, it is not something which is very based on selfish behavior or a selfish trait, not like that. And so it doesn't have a negative connotation per se. But many a times we might believe that if we set boundaries in any relationship, it means that we are trying to be very selfish and we don't care about the other person. We might think like this. But why it is necessary to build boundaries, one reason and the most important reason is so that you can maintain a sense of self, so that you can create
True.
some distance for your own self, right? Because
Yeah.
some most of our relationships can be very very what you say, demanding in a good way also, right? But then we would want to develop or establish a sense of self, right? So boundaries are important for one reason, to create a sense of self. Secondly, also to give yourself that much time to breathe and to create your own space for yourself. And this is not like a physical space, but this is like your own mind space, where you can actually nurture your own qualities and your own vision. So it will help you to build your self care attitudes also. It will help you to go towards self care, which is also very, very important. And thirdly, boundaries actually help a lot also to tell each other what works for me and what doesn't work for me. Because in a relationship, everything is not going to work in your favor. Some things you might really appreciate about the other individual, but some things you will not. Right? So I have told you in short three reasons to why we should uh, have boundaries and why we should create boundaries without giving it any negative connotation.
Yeah.
Now, your question specifically, Ketki, if I have to answer that now, that how what are the steps to create boundaries? Do you want to know the steps?
Yeah, true. Yeah. Like, how do we stepwise build healthy boundaries?
Right. So some techniques, if we have to discuss, some simple techniques to create healthy boundaries. One is definitely that you have to assert to each other what are your needs. See, both individuals, and now this is not just for romantic relationships. This is even for any other relationship. Like for example, two sisters, or a father and a daughter. Whatever relationship that where two individuals are involved, or more than two individuals are involved, it is necessary for all of you to assert what your needs are, right? And those
Okay.
needs you have to discuss with each other. Like for example, if I if I'm talking about a relationship with my sister, and if I have certain needs that I'm going to assert to her, that this works for me, these are my specific needs. Like for example, if I am working uh, on a particular task, and if I'm going to be busy, then I would want you to take care of the other household responsibilities that generally I might take. So you actually are very clear with each other about your specific needs, and have a discussion about those needs with each other. And this doesn't mean that you are only going to assert your own needs without taking into account the other person's needs. So even she will get the opportunity to actually discuss what her needs are. Like for example, she needs her own space in the evening. Or for example, when she comes from the office, she doesn't want anyone to talk to her immediately during that time, but after maybe 40-45 minutes. So whatever your needs are, you can chat them down and discuss with each other. This is the most effective strategy to create boundaries.
Okay. So we need to be assertive about our needs and we need to discuss about them clearly.
Yes.
So should we move to the second question then?
Yes.
So most of us face this common issue, especially in romantic relationships. So my question is, how to overcome doubts and insecurities in a relationship?
How to overcome doubts and insecurities?
Yeah.
See,
Yes.
this is like a very, very tricky and in-depth question. How to overcome doubts and insecurities in a relationship? See, one thing here, if we have to address, is doubts and insecurities are very natural to occur, and for many of us to experience. We all might experience various doubts and insecurities, right? So it is very natural, so you don't
Yes.
have to get anxious about them. That is very important. Many a times we get overly anxious about that I'm getting these insecurities, so maybe I am not a good partner, I'm not trusting my partner. So we get into a lot of this anxiety, which can be actually avoided by first accepting that you will be having these doubts and insecurities at an initial step. And sometimes even after years of relationship, those thoughts can come. So how to overcome them is, again, most important is discussion. See, this word discussion is so important. And I know we all make our own errors with this. We generally don't understand that actually discussion can help us to know what is there within our mind, so that we can actually clear out the mess of our own mind. See, because mind is such that it can create insecurity out of nowhere, right? There might be nothing to be insecure of, but yet it can create insecurity, and then it will build its own reality, and we will keep on we will struggle that reality unnecessarily. So how to overcome insecurity and doubt? First is discuss those insecurities and doubts openly. Have this kind of an open discussion with your partner, or with your sister, or with your any other close uh, person, or individual. So first step is discussion. Second, after you have discussed, and when things have become when there is clarification from the other party, then we have to apply, or we have to try to use that clarification in our daily life. Then we should not stick to our insecurity fueling thoughts. Then we should not stick to them. Then we should
Right.
try to apply the clarification that we get from the other party. But Ketki, here comes like a major turn. Sometimes we may not get the clarification from the uh, from the concerned individual for whatever reasons. Then what to do? Then it is important how much value you give that doubt and insecurity. Value means more than value. I think I would say, how much do you identify with that insecurity and doubt? Because sometimes if our identification is too intense with that insecurity and doubt, we will end up suffering, within. We will suffer more than the other individual. Don't you think that?
Yes. Yes. True.
Right, because the other person
Very
has no idea about what's going on, and we are only suffering that insecurity and doubt within us. So here comes an important point, is to build your what you say, your self concept, and you have to build your own self by yourself. This is very very important, and then you should get into any relationship.
okay. Yeah. This was a really nice answer actually. Yeah. Because it is natural, the issues that we face, doubts and insecurities, they come naturally, but then
Right.
I wasn't really aware about the self concept. It was really nice.
Right, but Ketki, tell me something that you must have experienced this in your relationships also. Many a times the insecurities, we don't get any answers for them. Don't you think that?
Yeah,
Sometimes,
sometimes. Yeah.
yeah, sometimes there may not be any answers to it, and then what happens? Then we will keep on building on those insecurities, and we will trouble our own peace of mind. That's why this building yourself by yourself becomes very very important, according to me at least.
Okay, I'm gonna write this down. Building yourself by yourself. That was
Yes, building yourself by yourself. You have to like pick yourself up. And let me tell you, this is very hard. Like it's so hard for all of us to do it. This is not. I'm not like like the most effective person whose all relationships are sorted. Nothing like that. But I think this is very important for all of us to do. See, if you have to give a happiness to the other person, I think we should first give that to ourselves, and that will only happen if we know who we are.
right.
Right, so I think this could be my answer to your question.
It was very very nice answer. Yeah. So then the third question. Yeah, there comes a phase of stagnancy, especially in romantic relationships again. And then there are many mixed thoughts in this phase, like what are we supposed to do, and is it getting stagnant? It is going to end. Don't know what else. So, what do you suggest about managing these thoughts in this phase specifically?
Yes, I know romantic relationships they have their own what do you say, whims and fancies that they work on. It's true, Ketki, that many a times there comes a point of stagnancy, even in all our relationships, not just romantic. Many of our relationships, we can, maybe the stagnancy can come. Then I think it is for both the individuals there to introspect on what is not working for them. They should both introspect individually first, with reference to what is, if I'm giving something to this relationship, first is what am I giving which is working, and what are the things that I'm giving to this relationship which is not working. We have to clearly think about this individually first, what is working and what is not working, right? Secondly, the stagnancy can also build up if the vision of these two individuals is contradictory to each other. So you also have to somewhere explore what is the vision of this relationship. See, every relationship has some vision, even if it is sisters, daughters, whatever relation, any relationship that you have, there is some vision. There is some core essence to it, right, which you work on. And this might be, we may not be aware of it, but we have to find what is the vision of this relationship. Where do we see each other after 5 years or after 10 years? And that vision needs to be same, right? Because if both the individuals share the same vision, then it becomes all the more easier to get to that vision. And it could be quite smooth. So two things here. One is, again, they both individually have to introspect on what is working, what is not working. Secondly, also think about what is the vision of this relationship. Okay. And thirdly, and which is also, I think, very important to reflect upon, is also, about each individual. They will have their own ways of putting their energy into the relationship, or their effort into the relationship. So both of them should individually, again, understand what kind of efforts they are putting for this relationship. Because see, if you have to maintain any relationship, I firmly have this kind of an idea. Many people may not agree with it, but I have firmly have this idea that obviously there is affection, but there also needs to be effort that you put in the relationship. So just affection and love may not be sufficient, and love is too deep a word. I think I would like to stick to affection, because I don't know whether we can love each other unconditionally also. But one is affection, and second is, what efforts am I putting into this relationship? Like, see, if you have to do best in your career or in your art, you have to put efforts there. They're just having that kind of a passion is not going to work. That kind of a inclination, I just have an inclination towards something, but I'm not working towards it. It is not going to end up, you won't go uh, further into it. So if you have to gain results, or if you have to get something, get the best from any relationship, you have to definitely have empathy, affection, uh, supportiveness. But with that, most important is effort. Both the individuals should put effort, and everyone's definition of effort is also very different. So again, that
Yeah.
communication also needs to be there. What kind of effort you would want that individual to put, and what effort he would want you to put.
Right.
But to end my answer to your question, I would say again here that, which is something that I'm learning, and I'm just sharing with you here on this platform, is, I think, uh, we should not rely on someone else for our peace of mind, or for our what you say, for our stability. We should try, and this is really hard, I know. This can be very hard, but we should try at least to not rely on the other person for our stability, for our mind's stability. Because if that itself we are relying on someone else, then it is like a tricky ride. Then we you don't know where, then we can go anywhere. And obviously I'm sharing this with experience itself, right? So this can definitely happen with all of us, that we have relied too much on the other individual, and that can actually be counterproductive to for our own self.
Right. So it again comes to the point that building self by self. So
Yeah, I think that could be the
that
theme,
makes a lot of
Katie.
sense.
That could be the theme maybe of the session.
Yeah. So before moving to the next question, I'd like to say this, that in audience, if anyone has any questions, they can post in the comment section and we'll definitely try to answer them.
Yeah, please.
So
I think we have some viewers definitely trying to listen to this. So you guys can share and post your comment. And even some people who are not right now live, we are really sorry that we had to change our timing. We came at 3:30. We were supposed to come at 4. Sorry for that. But anyone who is going to view this video later, they can also pose their questions later. I think me and Ketwiki will be more than happy to see those questions.
Definitely, yeah. So moving to the next question. How to cope with the feeling of being neglected if the partner is unable to give us time?
Yeah. This is also very common, right, in all our lives, that we think that the other person is not giving us that much time, and we might feel very, very neglected. See, feeling neglected is again very natural. You don't have to worry about these feelings of, you don't have to get anxious. Sorry, you can definitely worry about them, but you may not get anxious about, feeling neglected or feeling maybe that the other person is ignoring you. We all go through these feelings. One thing that all our viewers also should understand here, that these feelings are going to be temporary again, right? Some days you will feel that you are getting neglected, some days you will feel that you are getting loved, etc., etc. So these feelings are very, very temporary one. Secondly, if the other individual is unable to give you time, you can again maybe get on board with that person and actually discuss about what is happening and what are some of the reasons uh, that that are contributing to this, right? And somewhere you also have to maybe understand what the other person is, what is the nature of the other person. Some individuals have some kind of a tendency, they have their own tendencies to behave and act. See, we may not be able to change those tendencies completely. We can definitely influence those tendencies, but changing those tendencies is upon that individual alone. Only if that individual decides that I really want to give time, whatever example, or I really want to work this out, only then it is possible. You can only make the other person understand. So, one more learning I think that we all should have here is, we should only try to influence other individuals, but we should not try to control them, because that can be very, very exhausting for us. Right?
Right.
So even after a lot of communication, if still the other person is not willing to give you time, then it is up to you to decide whether you want to continue with this kind of an approach. And if you find that you are, it is very, you can manage with this kind of an approach and attitude, right? Then you should stay, then you can give the best to your relationship. But then if you find that this approach is not going to work for me, then you should again discuss with the other individual, right?
Right.
And sometimes, these early signs we get in a relationship, but we may not look at those signs because we are so much in the comfort, right, that we may not actually look at those early signs. And these early signs might persist throughout, right? So there are only two paths here. One is, both can make it work. If that is not happening, if you are still fine with the idea that okay, he's not giving me time, that's fine, but still I want to continue because of whatever factors, then there is no force, then it is your life, you can continue. But if you introspect and if you think that okay, I don't think this is going to be workable for me, then you should think for your own self and make that kind of a decision.
So I've got two great learnings from this answer that you have given, that feelings are temporary. So my first learning is that feelings are temporary, uh, which we don't really understand. Like, we think that, I'm feeling anxious, so I'm going to feel anxious for a longer time. But then feelings are temporary. That is very important. Then at the end, like you have always taught us that anything that we can control is our own thoughts. So we cannot really change others or control others, but we can definitely influence their thoughts. So these two learnings I've got from your answer.
Yeah, that is true. As you you rightly summarized these two important learnings here. But also, one more thing that again I would like to highlight here is, see, this is not like a pessimist approach. कि अरे, कुछ, it's not going to, the other person is not going to change at all. Not like that. Sometimes the other person is also changing, but we are stuck in our own old ideas. So then you also have to work
Yeah.
on your own perception, that if the other person is making the slightest of effort, then we should also create that kind of an atmosphere to acknowledge. And I know that is also equally difficult. So sometimes we also have to acknowledge small steps taken by the other individual, and the other person also has to acknowledge the small steps that are taken by you. Both should acknowledge each other's small little steps, because small steps will only create larger steps, and we will achieve our goals.
So acknowledging also becomes very important.
Yes.
I've talked to many friends and I've got these questions. If one of the partners is emotional and the other one is practical, so how do you deal with these differences?
Emotional, if someone is emotional, if one is emotional and the other one is practical, see, I think we all have that two sides to us. We all are emotional also at times and practical also at times. It depends on the intensity maybe, or it depends on the frequency also. So both the parties may be emotional at times and practical at times, but how to create a balance is, again, see, this is something that you will have to work on yourself. See, because being too emotional is also going to be unhelpful at certain times, and being too practical, like being too logical all the time, can also be an obstacle at some times. So I think this is again for that individual to work on his own mind, that to create a balance between emotionality and practicality, and we can create a blend of it. There can be a great blend of these two aspects to us, the feeling and the practicality. We can create a good blend, and we have to try to create this kind of a good balance between these two. Now, so you would ask me, or someone would ask me, how to create that balance. See, that balance again can be created by trying to create your own personality for yourself. One, you can create your own personality which is unique to you, and you stick to that personality, so you maintain your individuality in every relationship. That is very important. We all have our individual feature which we should maintain in our relation. Should maintain means sometimes we over compromise, or sometimes we are what you say, or we are too much what you say, we give too much value to our own individuality. That again is a problem. So somewhere you should try to be independent also, and also uh, dependent with reference to love, kindness, sharing, like that. So that individuality you have to express and own that individuality.
Yeah.
And
So
Ketki, you
blending.
also, sorry.
So I was saying that blending is a nice option for such a scenario where there are two extremes.
Right, and there can be various ways to blend this your feeling aspect and your practical aspect, but we may not have the time to discuss all those tools here. But there are good enough tools for it, right?
Yes. Then again, then when we talk about human relationships, the word expectations eventually pops in. So we expect our friend or our parents to, behave in a certain way, understand us. Or as the relationship grows, the expectations eventually rise. So my question is, do you think having expectations is okay? And if it is, how do we deal with the emotional consequences when they are not met?
Yes. See, having expectations is so human. Like, we all are going to have expectations. I think people who have really evolved their mindset, I think only they can live without expectations, and that could be the most what you say, peaceful way of living without expectations. But we all have we have to agree to it, that we all have certain expectations from ourselves and also from others. So definitely you can have discussion about these expectations, and you can assert them. No harm in doing that. You can definitely assert these expectations. Assert means tell it out, express it to the other individual. So we all are going to have expectation, and it is very, very natural, right? That is true. But converting those expectations into rigid rules can create turbulence in our relations. And sometimes might do that, right? We may not do that with people who are close, but we might do that with people who are like significantly a part of our life, right? We might do that. What
Yes.
happens is generally we make a quick shift from expectation into rigid rules, and we say that the rigid rule is expectation. Like for example, I want you to understand me, I would really want you to understand what I'm going through, if this is an expectation that I have from you, Ketki. But considering that we have such a close bond, I would turn that expectation into a rigid rule that you have to understand me, you have to understand my what I'm going through right now. And then what is going to happen is then you are going to go far away from me. You'll go far away from me, right? Because you will get burdened by that rigid rule, and probably then the relationship will have its own negative consequences. So I think expectations are very natural, but we should try as much as possible and at least be conscious. We may not always be able to do that, but at least let us be conscious to not shift them into rigid phenomena, rigid rules.
Yeah, got it. So, the last question, which I have, uh, some people are in abusive relationships and there is dominance.
Hmm.
So, may it be family or friendships or anything. But then they choose to not talk about it openly because then there's a fear of losing other person. So, what can be done in such a case?
Yeah, I know what you are trying to say here. Yes, that is true. Many of us, we might be into a certain abusive or counterproductive relationship, right? And we may not move out of the relationship for our own fear of losing that individual. Yes. See, I think the fear is nothing but the anxiety of what is going to happen to me if this person goes away from my life, right? Because we are so closely connected to each other, to at least to our significant ones, we are so closely connected that this fear of losing the other individual and the anxiety of losing is definitely something which can be a cause of concern. I would suggest to these individuals to take counseling for their own emotional disturbances, because it is very necessary for them to have that kind of a mindset to think objectively about the situation. So, one thing I would really encourage such individuals, if I see that they are in an abusive relationship, I would encourage them, at least so to manage their own disturbed emotions, they should take help in the form of counseling or psychotherapy. They should, right? So that it enables them to think more clearly, and there can also be a perspective shift which might help them. So this is one. Secondly, about the fear of losing the other individual. Many a times, what happens is we think that we don't have the capacity to live independently, or to live with loss. We think that, and it is very very difficult to live with loss. To be very honest. So, but what happens is sometimes we might what you say, overestimate this incapacity. So we might think in our head that we cannot bear the loss at all of an individual. But but if we see the way we live our life, and if we try to understand it realistically, it might be very difficult to bear the loss, but we might be able to. And we have to sometimes create that capacity, Ketki, to bear the loss of a relationship, right? Because of uncertainty. So I would suggest, and I would like many people to introspect on this, that how they would bear the loss of any relationship. I'm not saying loss has to happen. If it doesn't happen, it's great, but if it does happen, we also have to create that kind of a capacity within us, right? And such individuals definitely should seek help. They should not just rely on the
Yes.
support of friends and relatives, then it can become sometimes unhelpful also. Okay.
I just had a small doubt with this. It's not a doubt, it's just an extra question which I thought of asking. Is it
It is
related
like a
to
surprise
somewhat
question to
frustration
me.
in tolerance?
Sorry.
Yeah, kind of, kind of. So, whatever just you said, so is it somewhere related to frustration intolerance?
To frustration intolerance.
Yeah, so basically we can actually tolerate the loss, but then we have the, it's impossible for me. We have those thoughts, but actually we can.
Yeah, that's true. It is related to intolerance. What I just said, you're right there. We might have that kind of thought that we may not be able to deal. See, definitely, it's going to be very difficult, no doubt about it. But this unbearability concept, we might have to really check, right? And that's why I would probably say that we all should create that capacity within us, because see, life is so uncertain that anything can hit you at any moment, you without you even knowing that it's going to hit you the very next moment.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, so I think I'm done with my questions, and we have some questions. So Mihika is asking, how do you
Hmm.
react when someone's sharing very personal family problem or a fight, and you don't want to hurt them by saying something wrong and not even demeaning their family?
Okay, how do we react when someone's sharing, right? See, I think this is a very valid question, Mihika, that yes, some people might be very close to us and they might discuss about their family issues and we actually don't want to hurt them. I think here you should use the skill of being very, very empathetic to what they are going through. Empathetic means you're actually listening to their feelings. You are there with them. So even if you attend to them with empathetic listening, that itself can be very, very reassuring and helpful for that individual, right? You may not give any advice, don't give any advice to them about how they should deal with it, etc., but just providing them with that listening, with that active empathetic listening, can be very, very helpful to that individual, right? That is one. And secondly, if you are a professional, then definitely you can maybe probably give them the space to express their thoughts, also their disturbing thoughts. If you are a mental health professional, then obviously you can use your skills to offer that kind of a space where they can share their most negative and disturbing thoughts, right? But we can't do counseling on our closest relatives, right? So you should definitely refer them to a mental health expert who can help them.
Right. So uh, the next question by Deepak Tiwari. I think every relation has its age, and after that age, it ends organically. So do you endorse it?
Okay, this is like quite a different question. Yeah, I think every relation has its age. Okay, I think this is a very good perspective that you have, Deepak. That every relationship may have its age, and after that age it ends. I don't know. I don't know whether I endorse it. I need to give more thought to this question. I never thought it this way, so I think I'll have to give more thought. But see, rather than it ends it organically, I would suggest that no relationship, according to me, a relationship cannot end, because you will have the memories within you even if the person is not there. You will actually nurture their memories and the pleasant encounters that you have had. So they may not be like dead end to any relationship like that, according to me. But fading away of relationship, I think that also depends on each relationship, the way it is maintained, the way it is nurtured. That's why I think we gave this name build and nurture. So I think on the level of nurturance and maintenance, we will have to decide whether the relationship ends or it doesn't, right? If a relationship is fully flourished and fulfilled and now there is nothing to achieve, I think then that's like the best kind of a state that you are in. But ending, I don't know, I might have to think more about this question. But interesting angle.
Yeah, it is really interesting. Thank you, Deepak and Mika. So I think we have come to an end. There are no more questions.
Yes, there are no more
So
questions. We had two questions today, and if there are if there's anyone else who are listening to this, and if you have your questions, please don't shy away. You can ask. If not, you can ask on the other page later, right?
yes, yes, yes. So Can I summarize
Yes, you can,
the whole
Kethi. What?
session? I have written some points. So first thing is asserting needs and discussing it openly in any kind of relationship. And if there is no clarification from the other side, we can definitely work on our self concept. And then the line comes, building self by self. Then uh, if there are any issues, that we need to understand that there are temporary feelings. Feelings are temporary, and we have to work on our own thoughts rather than controlling others, because it's in our hands. We can definitely influence others, but we need to work on ourselves first. Then when the issue comes like emotionality and practicality, two major extremes, so we can blend these and create our individuality in every relationship first. Then again, if there is dominance or any other issue which is troubling someone, so we can assert about our needs and definitely take help. Okay, so there are interrelations. So yeah, those were my points. And active empathetic listening.
Yes, I think you
That's it.
summarized most of the things that we discussed today, and I'm really glad that Katie, you took this effort, and we had our own viewers today. Thank you all for joining this session. People who couldn't join right now, they can definitely see. This is just more of a reflection space, a reflective space that we wanted to create with like-minded individuals, right? So we would just like to end by saying this, that every relationship is precious. It is very, very important for all of us to invest our time, energy into it, and give it the necessary, what you say, nurturance that it needs, so that it can grow more beautifully, right?
Yes, and ma'am, I would like to thank you for this opportunity. I'm really grateful, and I'm very happy that I was a part of this series, the Reflection series. So thank you so much.
Yes, you're most welcome. Okay, bye guys. Take care. Have a good day.